Welcome to the Intelligence Test channel. Do you think you know everything about Jesus' 12 disciples? In today's video, we have prepared 125 questions that will test your biblical knowledge about the 12 disciples of Jesus. Each question will present 4 answer choices, and you will have 5 seconds to think and choose the correct alternative. With that said, let's begin. Who was the first disciple to be called by Jesus? Peter, Andrew, John, or Philip? The correct answer is option B, Andrew. Which of the 12 disciples denied Jesus 3 times on the night he was arrested? John, Thomas, Peter, or James? The correct answer is option C, Peter. Which of the following was not the profession of any of the 12 disciples? Fisherman, tax collector, zealot, or carpenter? The correct answer is option D, carpenter. What were James and John doing when Jesus called them? Praying in the synagogue, mending their fishing nets, selling fish at the market, or walking along the banks of the Jordan River? The correct answer is option B, mending their fishing nets. Which disciple worked as a tax collector before being called by Jesus? Philip, Simon the Zealot, Thomas, or Matthew? The correct answer is option D, Matthew. Before being called by Jesus, Andrew was a disciple of which prophet? Elijah, Isaiah, John the Baptist, or Moses? The correct answer is option C, John the Baptist. Which apostle was crucified on an X-shaped cross? Peter, Philip, James, or Andrew? The correct answer is option D, Andrew. Which disciple walked on water toward Jesus? Peter, John, Andrew, or James? The correct answer is option A, Peter. Which of Jesus' disciples is known as the son of Alphaeus? Matthew, Simon, Bartholomew, or James? The correct answer is option D, James. Who was entrusted with caring for Mary, the mother of Jesus, after the crucifixion? John, Peter, James, or Andrew? The correct answer is option A, John. Which disciple was called Satan by Jesus? Judas Iscariot, Thomas, Peter, or James? The correct answer is option C, Peter. Which of Jesus' 12 disciples was the first to be martyred? Peter, James, Andrew, or John? The correct answer is option B, James. After the death of Judas Iscariot, which disciple was chosen to complete the group of 12 apostles? Matthias, Paul, Barnabas, or Stephen? The correct answer is option A, Matthias. Which 2 disciples were called the sons of thunder by Jesus? Peter and Andrew, Philip and Bartholomew, James and John, or Matthew and Thomas? The correct answer is option C, James and John. Which action by Jesus' disciples was considered by the Pharisees to be a violation of the Sabbath law? Fishing in the Sea of Galilee, picking heads of grain, baptizing people in the Jordan River, or preaching in the synagogues? The correct answer is option B, picking heads of grain. How many times did Jesus ask Peter if he loved him? 3 times, once, 4 times, or twice? The correct answer is option A, 3 times. Which disciple doubted Jesus' resurrection and only believed after seeing the nail marks? Philip, Bartholomew, Andrew, or Thomas? The correct answer is option D, Thomas. According to Christian tradition, John was the only one of the 12 apostles to die of natural causes. Is this statement true or false? The statement is true. Which of these disciples was one of the 2 who ran to see Jesus' empty tomb? Matthew, Andrew, Peter, or Philip? The correct answer is option C, Peter. According to Christian tradition, who brought the gospel to India? Peter, Thomas, John, or Matthew? The correct answer is option B, Thomas. Which disciples were present when Jesus raised Jairus' daughter from the dead? Peter, James and John, Andrew, Philip and Bartholomew, Matthew, Simon and Judas, or Thomas, Philip and Andrew? The correct answer is option A, Peter, James and John. Which disciple asked, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" Thomas, Philip, Nathanael, or Andrew? The correct answer is option C, Nathanael. Which apostle wrote the book of Revelation while in exile on an island? Peter, James, John, or Andrew? The correct answer is option C, John. Which relative of the apostle Peter was healed by Jesus? His mother, his mother-in-law, his brother, or his daughter? The correct answer is option B, his mother-in-law. Which of Jesus' disciples wrote a gospel aimed especially at the Jews? John, Matthew, Luke, or Mark? The correct answer is option B, Matthew. In which city did Jesus find Philip and call him to be his disciple? Capernaum, Nazareth, Jerusalem, or Bethsaida? The correct answer is option D, Bethsaida. Which disciple of Jesus was also known by the name Thaddeus? Simon the Zealot, Philip, Judas, or Bartholomew? The correct answer is option C, Judas. Which apostle accompanied Jesus all the way to the crucifixion? Peter, James, Andrew, or John? The correct answer is option D, John. Which disciple was approached by the Greeks who wished to see and meet Jesus? Philip, Andrew, Bartholomew, or Thomas? The correct answer is option A, Philip. John the Baptist was one of Jesus' 12 disciples. Is this statement true or false? The statement is false. Peter and John were arrested by the religious authorities after healing a lame man. Is this statement true or false? The statement is true. To which of the 12 apostles did Jesus give the name Cephas? Andrew, James, Peter, or John? The correct answer is option C, Peter. What is the meaning of the name Cephas? Shepherd, rock, light, or servant? The correct answer is option B, rock. Which apostle of Jesus was martyred by being thrown from the top of a temple? James, Thomas, Matthew, or John? The correct answer is option A, James. Which apostle of Jesus became known in the Gospels as the beloved disciple? John, Andrew, James, or Peter? The correct answer is option A, John. Peter and Andrew were brothers and worked as fishermen. Is this statement true or false? The statement is true. What was the name of the father of the apostles Peter and Andrew? Zebedee, Alphaeus, Jonah, or Timaeus? The correct answer is option C, Jonah. Besides Peter and Andrew, which other disciples of Jesus were fishermen? Matthew and Philip, James and John, Simon and Judas Thaddeus, or Thomas and Bartholomew? The correct answer is option B, James and John. Which disciple brought to Jesus a boy who had 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish? Philip, Peter, Andrew, or Thomas? The correct answer is option C, Andrew. Which apostle of Jesus was crucified upside down? John, Peter, James, or Andrew? The correct answer is option B, Peter. Which of the 12 disciples was known by the nickname the Zealot? Judas Thaddeus, Bartholomew, Simon, or Philip? The correct answer is option C, Simon. When Peter asked Jesus how many times he should forgive, what was Jesus' answer? 70 times 7, 100 times, 7 times, or 49 times? The correct answer is option A, 70 times 7. What was the disciples' initial reaction upon seeing Jesus walking on water? They were amazed, they jumped out of the boat, they were afraid, or they started fishing. The correct answer is option C, they were afraid. Which of the 12 disciples was the first to raise someone from the dead? John, James, Peter, or Andrew? The correct answer is option C, Peter. Which disciple wrote the greatest number of books in the New Testament? John, Matthew, Peter, or James? The correct answer is option A, John. Which disciple brought Nathanael to Jesus? Andrew, Philip, Peter, or John? The correct answer is option B, Philip. During the Last Supper, who asked Jesus, "Lord, where are you going?" John, Thomas, Philip, or Peter? The correct answer is option D, Peter. After the triumphal entry into Jerusalem, Jesus and his disciples left the city. Where did they go? Bethlehem, Jericho, Bethany, or Nazareth? The correct answer is option C, Bethany. According to Christian tradition, which disciple was martyred by being pierced with a spear in India? Bartholomew, Philip, Simon, or Thomas? The correct answer is option D, Thomas. Jesus washed the feet of the 12 disciples at the Last Supper. Is this statement true or false? The statement is true. Which of the 12 apostles initially refused to let Jesus wash his feet? John, James, Andrew, or Peter? The correct answer is option D, Peter. Which apostle had his name changed by Jesus? Peter, John, Andrew, or Philip? The correct answer is option A, Peter. What is the name of the island where John was in exile when he wrote the book of Revelation? Cyprus, Crete, Patmos, or Rhodes? The correct answer is option C, Patmos. Which disciple betrayed Jesus and handed him over to the Roman soldiers? Peter, Judas Iscariot, Thomas, or Bartholomew? The correct answer is option B, Judas Iscariot. Which apostles asked Jesus if they could call down fire from heaven? James and John, Matthew and Philip, Peter and Andrew, or Simon and Judas Thaddeus? The correct answer is option A, James and John. Which disciple had a Jewish mother and a Greek father? Timothy, Titus, Silas, or Barnabas? The correct answer is option A, Timothy. All 12 disciples were originally from Galilee. Is this statement true or false? The statement is false. Which of the 12 disciples of Jesus was not originally from Galilee? Peter, Philip, Judas Iscariot, or Andrew? The correct answer is option C, Judas Iscariot. Which disciple cut off the ear of the high priest's servant during Jesus' arrest? John, James, Andrew, or Peter? The correct answer is option D, Peter. The phrase, "Show us the Father, and that will be enough for us," was spoken by which disciple? Thomas, Peter, Philip, or John? The correct answer is option C, Philip. When Jesus asked, "Who do you say that I am?" what was Peter's answer? "You are a prophet, you are the Christ, you are the life, or you are the way." The correct answer is option B, "You are the Christ." Which apostle described himself as a companion in tribulation? John, James, Peter, or Andrew? The correct answer is option A, John. For how many pieces of silver did Judas betray Jesus? 20 pieces of silver, 50 pieces of silver, 40 pieces of silver, or 30 pieces of silver? The correct answer is option D, 30 pieces of silver. What sign did Judas Iscariot use to identify Jesus at the time of his arrest? He pointed at Jesus, he greeted Jesus with a handshake, he bowed his head before Jesus, or he greeted Jesus with a kiss? The correct answer is option D. He greeted Jesus with a kiss. Judas repented and returned the 30 pieces of silver. Is this statement true or false? The statement is true. Which of the 12 apostles was killed on the orders of King Herod? John, Peter, James, or Andrew? The correct answer is option C, James. Which of the following biblical figures was not one of the 12 disciples of Jesus? Bartholomew, Simon the Zealot, Judas Thaddeus, or Paul of Tarsus? The correct answer is option D, Paul of Tarsus. Where did Jesus go with his disciples after the Last Supper? To the Mount of Olives, to the temple in Jerusalem, to the house of Mary Magdalene, or to Bethany, the house of Lazarus? The correct answer is option A, to the Mount of Olives. Which disciple asked Jesus a question that led to the famous response, "I am the way, the truth, and the life"? Peter, John, Thomas, or Philip? The correct answer is option C, Thomas. Which apostle of Jesus is considered by the Roman Catholic Church to be the first pope? John, James, Andrew, or Peter? The correct answer is option D, Peter. The disciples received the Holy Spirit on the day of Pentecost. Is this statement true or false? The statement is true. Simon the Zealot and Judas Thaddeus are the same disciple. Is this statement true or false? The statement is false. Which disciple always appears in 5th place in the lists of apostles in the Gospels? Thomas, Philip, Bartholomew, or Matthew? The correct answer is option B, Philip. Which of Jesus' 12 disciples was also known by the name Levi? Philip, Matthew, Thomas, or Bartholomew? The correct answer is option B, Matthew. What event did Peter, James, and John witness when Jesus took them up a mountain? The feeding of the 5,000, the resurrection of Lazarus, the ascension of Jesus into heaven, or the transfiguration of Jesus? The correct answer is option D, the transfiguration of Jesus. In what place was Jesus with his disciples when he was betrayed by Judas Iscariot? In the Garden of Gethsemane, in the temple in Jerusalem, in the house of Simon Peter, or on Mount Tabor? The correct answer is option A, in the Garden of Gethsemane. How many and which disciples of Jesus worked as fishermen before being called? 3 disciples, Peter, Andrew, and John. 2 disciples, Peter and Andrew. 5 disciples, Peter, Andrew, James, John, and Philip. Or 4 disciples, Peter, Andrew, James, and John. The correct answer is option D, 4 disciples, Peter, Andrew, James, and John. Which 2 disciples asked Jesus to sit at his right and left in the kingdom? Peter and Andrew, James and John, Philip and Bartholomew, or Matthew and Thomas? The correct answer is option B, James and John. Which disciple was rebuked for trying to prevent Jesus from going to Jerusalem? John, James, Andrew, or Peter? The correct answer is option D, Peter. Besides Peter, which other disciple is the focus of attention in the early chapters of the book of Acts? James, Andrew, John, or Philip? The correct answer is option C, John. Which apostle led the process of choosing the replacement for Judas Iscariot? John, James, Andrew, or Peter? The correct answer is option D, Peter. According to Christian tradition, who wrote the Gospel of John? John, Andrew, Thomas, or Matthew? The correct answer is option A, John. Which apostle delivered a powerful sermon on the day of Pentecost? John, James, Andrew, or Peter? The correct answer is option D, Peter. Which apostle is considered by Catholic tradition to be the patron saint of lost causes? Simon the Zealot, Bartholomew, Judas Thaddeus, or Matthew? The correct answer is option C, Judas Thaddeus. Judas Iscariot was the treasurer of the group of disciples. Is this statement true or false? The statement is true. Jesus chose the 12 disciples after spending the night in prayer. Is this statement true or false? The statement is true. John was the oldest of the 12 disciples. Is this statement true or false? The statement is false. In which region did the Apostle Andrew carry out his ministry and suffer martyrdom? Persia, Greece, Egypt, or Babylon? The correct answer is option B, Greece. Which of the 12 apostles was imprisoned twice? Peter, John, James, or Thomas? The correct answer is option A, Peter. Which of the names listed below is not one of the 12 disciples of Jesus? Bartholomew, Philip, Luke, or Matthew? The correct answer is option C, Luke. Which disciple said to his brother, "We have found the Messiah"? John, Andrew, James, or Peter? The correct answer is option B, Andrew. What was Peter's name before Jesus gave him the name Peter? Simon, James, Andrew, or John? The correct answer is option A, Simon. Which of the 12 apostles was the son of Zebedee and brother of John? James, Philip, Bartholomew, or Thomas? The correct answer is option A, James. Where was Andrew when Jesus called him for the first time? He was praying in a synagogue, he was in the temple in Jerusalem, he was with John the Baptist, or he was collecting taxes. The correct answer is option C, he was with John the Baptist. Which disciple was not present when Jesus appeared to the others after the resurrection? Philip, Thomas, Andrew, or Bartholomew? The correct answer is option B, Thomas. Which apostle healed a paralytic named Aeneas? John, James, Peter, or Andrew? The correct answer is option C, Peter. John wrote only the Gospel of John among the biblical writings. Is this statement true or false? The statement is false. Andrew was the brother of John, son of Zebedee. Is this statement true or false? The statement is false. Which disciple asked Jesus, "Lord, why do you reveal yourself to us and not to the world?" Philip, Judas Thaddeus, Simon the Zealot, or Bartholomew? The correct answer is option B, Judas Thaddeus. Which apostle received a vision of a sheet coming down from heaven with unclean animals? John, Peter, James, or Andrew? The correct answer is option B, Peter. On which sea did the fishermen disciples practice their trade? The Sea of Galilee, the Mediterranean Sea, the Red Sea, or the Dead Sea? The correct answer is option A, the Sea of Galilee. Which disciple was freed from prison by an angel during the night? John, James, Peter, or Andrew? The correct answer is option C, Peter. Which apostle baptized the Ethiopian eunuch on the road to Gaza? Peter, John, Andrew, or Philip? The correct answer is option D, Philip. Which disciple was the brother of James, son of Alphaeus? Judas Thaddeus, Simon the Zealot, Philip, or Bartholomew? The correct answer is option A, Judas Thaddeus. Which apostle wrote two epistles that are part of the New Testament? John, James, Peter, or Judas Thaddeus? The correct answer is option C, Peter. Which disciple was described by Jesus as a true Israelite, in whom there is no deceit? Bartholomew, Andrew, Philip, or Thomas? The correct answer is option A, Bartholomew. Bartholomew and Nathanael are the same person. Is this statement true or false? The statement is true. Which apostle presided over the Council of Jerusalem, as recorded in Acts 15? Peter, Paul, James, or John? The correct answer is option C, James. Which disciple was present at the house of Cornelius, the first Gentile to be baptized? John, Peter, Philip, or Andrew? The correct answer is option B, Peter. Which apostle wrote an epistle addressed to the 12 tribes scattered abroad? Peter, John, Judas Thaddeus, or James? The correct answer is option D, James. Which disciple raised a woman named Tabitha, also known as Dorcas, from the dead? John, Peter, Philip, or Andrew? The correct answer is option B, Peter. Judas Iscariot was the only disciple who betrayed Jesus. Is this statement true or false? The statement is true. Philip was from Bethsaida, the same city as Peter and Andrew. Is this statement true or false? The statement is true. What was the first miracle performed by Jesus in the presence of his disciples? The feeding of the 5,000, the healing of a blind man, the turning of water into wine at Cana, or the resurrection of Lazarus? The correct answer is option C, the turning of water into wine at Cana. Which apostle was the spokesman for the disciples in most of the situations described in the Gospels? John, James, Andrew, or Peter? The correct answer is option D, Peter. Which disciple was also called Didymus, meaning twin? Thomas, Matthew, Philip, or Bartholomew? The correct answer is option A, Thomas. Which apostle initially resisted Jesus' call, saying that he was a sinful man? John, James, Andrew, or Peter? The correct answer is option D, Peter. Which apostle wrote the shortest epistle in the New Testament? Peter, James, John, or Judas Thaddeus? The correct answer is option D, Judas Thaddeus. Which disciples were sent by Jesus to prepare the Last Supper? John and James, Peter and John, Andrew and Philip, or Thomas and Matthew? The correct answer is option B, Peter and John. Which apostle was described as the less to distinguish him from another apostle with the same name? Simon, John, James, or Judas? The correct answer is option C, James. All 12 disciples were present at the Last Supper. Is this statement true or false? The statement is true. Which disciple was with Jesus when he was tempted in the desert? Peter, John, James, or was Jesus alone? The correct answer is option D, Jesus was alone. Which apostle is the patron saint of fishermen? John, Peter, Andrew, or James? The correct answer is option B, Peter. Which disciple asked Jesus how he could show them the way since they did not know where he was going? Philip, Peter, Thomas, or John? The correct answer is option C, Thomas. In which city were the disciples called Christians for the first time? Jerusalem, Antioch, Rome, or Ephesus? The correct answer is option B, Antioch. How many questions did you get right? Leave your answer in the comments. If you know someone who would also like to deepen their biblical knowledge, share this video with them. That's all for today, but there is still much more to come. If you consider yourself intelligent, click on the video that is appearing on your screen.